Good morning. This is Rebecca with Red True Crime. And as I promised, I was going to talk about the Tyarra Cacique Williams case. This is another local case from Greensboro. She went missing January, let's make sure my notes here. She went missing January 7th of 2016. Now, for me, I first became acquainted with this case pretty much right after she went missing. I think it was within a couple weeks because I was working in a call center in McLeansville, which is a like suburb of like northern Greensboro, and somebody had put a flyer in the break room because it was a massive call center, so you had a lot of people from Greensboro and High Point and Winston Salem and all that working there. So it had definitely been making its rounds. Um, I remember seeing the picture, like, God, she's so young, and she was 19, but she looked barely 15. She was just so young looking. And that was a case that always stuck with me because it was local. She was so young. And obviously, the family was doing what they could to try to track her down. So, when I started this YouTube channel, one of my goals is to bring light to cases of people that are of people of color, indigenous, the cases that generally don't get a whole lot of publicity, news, headlines, and whatnot. Um, it's unfortunate that this is the way it works, but the more you kick up the dust, the more people remember things, which is one reason why I've reported so much on Marissa Carmichael, because she's also a person of color that, had it not been family, friends, and other concerned people um, just raising holy heck, you probably would not have even heard of her case at all. So, and on her case, Marissa Carmichael, just to backtrack a little bit, there really has not been any updated leads or anything different than what I've already reported. Uh, I do know I've spoken with her mother, and she has some ideas of who she thinks is suspect in her daughter's disappearance. And I'm not going to go into what she thinks right now because it could cause her some drama. So, and the police have removed Marissa from the missing person list that they have, for their bulletin. When it breaks down like what he was missing, whatever, she's no longer listed. So I don't know what that means at all. So until we get confirmation as to why any of that's happening, not a whole lot I can say on that. So Tyarra Cacique Williams, she went missing January 7th, 2016. Um, she is 19 years old, or was 19 at the time. She'd be 26 today. And she went missing after she was trying to meet up with a friend named Travis. So I'll go into more as to why I'm doing the air quotes soon. So the day started off pretty normal. In December of 2015, she made a decision that she was going to start college. She had graduated from Dudley High School, which is here in Greensboro, in June of 2014, and took basically a year off. And by December of 2015, she made the decision she was going to go into school, study early childhood development, and work with children. That is what she wanted to do. So on January 7th, she went down to Guilford Technical Community College, which we call the acronym. I cannot talk today. Goodness gracious, not enough coffee. So it's abbreviated as GTCC. And you may hear me say that, but it's known as Guilford Technical Community College. So she went in, she enrolled, she did her financial aid paperwork, she picked her classes, did all these things that day, even picked up her student ID that had her photo on it. Now, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. So, at the time when she was enrolling in school, she was not living with her mother, Danielle. She actually had moved in with her grandmother her senior year of high school. Reason being, grandma lived alone. She didn't want grandma to live alone. And I think Tyarra wanted some more independence, a little bit more freedom. Because based on my research, and a lot of my research is coming from a Discovery Plus series called Disappeared, and they actually focused on Tyarra Williams in one of the episodes. And the mother even admitted that, she checked up on her daughter a lot. When Tiara created her own Facebook account, it was with the condition that her mom be friends with her on Facebook and that her mom have access to the account so she can check up on who she's communicating with, who she's friends with, these type of things. Now I can tell you neither one of my daughters would do that for me. So I applaud Danielle for being able to convince a teenager to say, "Hey, give me access to your social media." I mean, that is just unheard of. But you could also understand that if mom is creeping through your stuff. That is what my kids would say. Um, you're probably gonna want some secrets of your own and stuff that you're not gonna tell anybody about. I have been told by my oldest daughter that there are things I will never know. She has her own secrets, and that's fair. Everybody should have their own secret. You don't have to divulge your life story to everyone, but um, when you have that kind of relationship with your parent that's kind of overseeing everything you do, I could understand why she may not divulge everything about her love life and whatnot. So we go back to January 7th, 2016. So she's gone to school, she's enrolled, she's got her classes, she's got everything settled. She comes back to her mother's house, and she's showing her mom, like, look, I got this student ID. Her brother and the guy she's currently seeing, Aaron, who is a neighbor, is also there at the apartment. Now that is important. Mom's very happy for her. She said, yeah, mom even said she was in the best of spirits. Everything was great. And then Tiara got up and started taking down the Christmas tree because that was part of their arrangement. Like, mom put it up, Tiara take it down. So they're there, and mom offers, like, hey, tomorrow we'll go out and we'll go pay for your textbooks. I'll do some school shopping and we'll get all that done. Great. All that is settled. So she goes and she takes everything down, and then she and Aaron and her brother head over to her grandmother's apartment, which isn't too far, because grandma's cooking, and apparently grandma can really cook better than mom. That's back and forth on that. I have no clear um, determination on that. No, this is just a matter of opinion. But grandmas tend to cook better than moms. Anyway, but they go over there and they're spending time, and Tiara mentions to everyone, hey, I'm going to be leaving. This is around 8 o'clock. I'm going to meet up with a friend of mine. And they're like, who are you meeting up with? She's like, Travis. Now, Aaron, the boyfriend, doesn't know who Travis is. Brother has no idea who Travis is. Grandma has no idea who Travis is. But she leaves, and she's like, hey, I'll be back in an hour. So, she leaves, and brother and boyfriend go over to his house to go hang out. So, the brother and the boyfriend go back to grandma's house, and they wait for Tiara to come back. And they wait, and they wait, and they wait. No Tiara. Now, the next morning, Erin is concerned because she still hasn't shown up. Calls the grandmother and asks, have you seen Tiara? And she's like, no, what's going on? And he's like, she never came home. So that's when the ball gets rolling. We call mom, we call dad, we call grandpa, we call everybody. Have you seen Tiara? No one has seen Tiara. Now, there is a friend that she did go see that she was, and she said she was supposed to come over here, never made it. I've seen some reports saying she never made it to the friend's house, and I've seen some reports saying that she left from the friend's house to go meet up with the guy. I'm not sure which is true. Back and forth, back and forth. But supposedly Travis, because once mom hears the name Travis and she has no idea who Travis is, she gets into her Facebook and starts going through her friend list. Nobody named Travis listed on her friend list. And then she finds these Facebook messages, and it's from an ex-boyfriend she had prior to Aaron. That is who she was seeing. Apparently they had met up a couple of times, like the week prior. They were chatting back and forth. Now, this ex-boyfriend has never, ever, ever been named in this investigation. And so I don't even know what his name is. Cops have never mentioned him, but they did clear him because when they did talk to him, he gave them his phone. They went through all the messages, and they couldn't do the location data though on the phone, but they did everything else. Checked the car. There was no trace of her whatsoever, no blood, anything like anything had happened in the car. But he is the last person to have seen her before she went missing. So police are worried, they're concerned. You know, you have this 19-year-old girl, very pretty, very slim, very easily grabbable. No one knows where she is. They go back to her mother's house or her grandmother's house, and her purse is there. Her phone charger's there. You call the phone goes straight to voicemail, which means the phone is off, which is something she never did. Never turned the phone off. So every indication there is that she is coming back to her things at some point because she said, I'm going to be gone an hour. I'll be right back. Never came back. So as time goes on, they start searching around the area, never find anything. Her grandfather is a bail bondsman, and he had reached out and made some contacts to see if anybody had seen anything. And this is where things start getting very interesting because once the grandfather gets involved and the police start doing tips and everything, that's when the phone starts ringing. They start getting messages on Facebook. His mom had created Let's Find, help find Tyarra Facebook page. And she gets a link saying, hey, I think, she was buried in these tractor trailer, whatever, spots. And the police go there with cadaver dogs that are not far from the apartments and go through all these trailers. She's not there. They also get a message saying that there was a girl in High Point that resembled Tyarra that was very dazed and kind of walking around. And High Point is another small little town that is not far from Greensboro. I actually lived there for about 10 years myself. So it's like you can drive from High Point into Greensboro. I mean, they share a road. It's crazy. I mean, you could be 1 foot in High Point, 1 foot in Greensboro. It's that close. So, she was also last seen there. And then they got another report showing that there was a girl who also resembled Tyarra that was basically right down the road from where she was living at, wandering around, looked rugged, dazed, but nobody ever saw this woman. But you get two reports on the same day saying the same thing. It makes you wonder, okay, maybe she was kidnapped. And then time goes on and, months go by and then they start getting more tips. They get a message from a server in a Waffle House in Jessup, Georgia, saying, "Hey, there was this group of girls that was sitting here eating, and there was this one girl that looks just like Tyarra, and she doesn't look like she really belongs with this group." So Grandpa hops in the car, drives all the way down to Jessup, Georgia, which takes about 6 hours to get there, and he goes and talks to these people, and he shows the servers, like, this is my granddaughter. Did it look like her? Like, yeah, it looks just like her. So he gets down there and he's waiting and he's waiting, and these girls all of a sudden don't come back in, for a little while. So the servers are like, well, we really think they are staying somewhere around the area. So he starts looking around the hotels, trying to find this group, and he does find the right hotel. And he's talking to the hotel manager, and he shows her a picture, and she's like, you know what? She might be here. She's like, because that group you're looking for, they're here with a guy. He's a pimp. So she very well could be with him. So he goes and calls the police. They come in, they interview everybody, and they get back to him and say, I'm so sorry. It's not her. We found the girl that you were reported, that was reported was her. It's not her. I'm so sorry. So that was a dead end. So they go back. He goes back to Greensboro, and he has to go and tell the bad news that, hey, it wasn't Tyarra. So they're kind of back to square one a little bit. But then, and however, they find out that Tyarra was also had another ex-boyfriend. His name was Trey. And he was older, and she was basically kind of obsessed with the guy, and had been talking to him again, too. But unfortunately, he got cleared, and also, unfortunately, he was killed not long after this. Shot and killed. And the person who shot and killed him, they've arrested. He's in jail. And the police have been able to confirm he had no ties to Tyarra. That situation had nothing to do with her. So, which was a good lead. But I do wonder, as I'm speculating, because that boyfriend, the other ex, the one who has not been named, if he's not more involved in this case, because he's the last one to see her alive. He is the last one. She got out of his car. I mean, they can't say, they can't prove that she did, but they can't prove that she didn't either. So he's, in my opinion, the guy that I would look at, in my opinion. But the other end of this could be true. She could have been snatched and she could be being trafficked right now, um, which means she could still very much be alive. We just had a case not too long ago where a woman who had been missing for 7 years, they just found her in a hotel. The person who had her had walked out, locked her in, and she was pounding on the door, and someone heard and got the door open and got her out. She had been missing for 7 years. 7 years. So when you hear cases like that, it gives you hope that someone like Tyarra is, it's been 8 years, she could still very well be out there somewhere. And the family still does get tips of sightings of her all over the country. And we do know with when it comes to trafficking, it doesn't just happen in that area. If you're grabbed from one area, they generally take you somewhere else so people don't recognize you. So she could be really anywhere in the country right now. But that also means she's still alive. And that's what you have to hold out for. Because every day you're hearing about a new case of someone being missing and then that missing person being found years later. And this is what has happened to them. It's awful, it's terrible, but they're still alive. And there's that hope. And she's a case that, for 8 years, there's multiple detectives having worked on that. The original detective was, let's see, what was her name? Latoya Farrar. She was the original detective. I also see where we've got a Dolores Willie, a Gina Battles, and a Michael Matthews have also been touching up on this case for the last 8 years. She's still listed on NamUs, and NamUs is the missing persons website, national missing persons website, and she's still on there. But I gotta believe that the overbearingness of her mom may have played a role in her keeping the secrets, and it's also possible even if her mother hadn't had the rules that she had, she still would have done this. You know, she seemed like, from everything I've seen, she is a very sweet and caring person, and loved life and loved love. And the other thing, the mother has stated that she thinks the boy she was seeing, Aaron, should be looked at because the word is, and again, that Tyarra's not here to confirm this, but the word is that Tyarra was kind of like, this is just, you may want to be together, but I'm more like a friend thing, so, I don't know how to handle this. And it's possible she told him that. And he wigged out and things went bad. I understand that. I mean, honestly, every possible idea of what could have happened can't be ignored unless it can be forensically disproved. And when you don't have Tyarra, a body, or the live one, it's kind of hard to figure out what happened to her. So, yeah, the whole thing is sad. But she's just one of many that have gone missing from the Greensboro area. But she was one I wanted to start with because because she is so young. And it's been 8 years. 8 years. They even, when the spring came of 2016, they even did a deep dive looking into drains all around the area to see if there was any other clues or anything leading to her, and nothing. It's like she just vanished off the face of the earth. If you want my honest opinion, and I mean, why else would you be watching this if you weren't asking for my opinion? And my opinion is this: I think she's young, she's pretty, she's petite, she's a prime victim, prime example of somebody who would be taken for trafficking. And I truly believe that is what has happened to her. I mean, you always have the jealous ex out there, but I think that's a stretch in this situation because, again, as I stated in other videos, Greensboro is a huge pipeline for trafficking in women in this area. Goes right up to Charlotte, Raleigh, Durham, all of that, and Georgia. I mean, we also have a lot of gangs that are in around um, the area. Crips, Bloods. Some Mexican cartels. These are all factors that go into play with the crime rate that's here in Greensboro, High Point, and the surrounding areas. And trafficking is a big business for these groups, drug and sex. At the end of the day, I mean, it's possible she saw something, they had to make her go away, or she just fits what they were looking for. But for the family, never give up hope, because if trafficking is what's happened, one day she'll come home. One day she'll come home. One can hope anyway. But so as I part my words, say my parting words for today, hold on to your family, hold those you love close, because you never know when that's going to be the last time you see them or talk to them. Because you're always going to replay over the last words you have with them, whether they were good or bad. You're going to replay it over and over again in your mind when you don't have them around to talk to them and create new memories. And I feel for Tyarra's family. I really do. He said this is a girl with so much promise. Still has so much promise as she is found. And one can hope that she is found and brought back home so she can live out the life that she wanted. So, on the ending note, this be rude, be mean, be alive, be safe. You know, if someone tries to grab you, go boneless. It's hard to grab somebody if they go completely limp. And don't trust anyone who's following you. Always ask questions. Always be aware of your surroundings because you never know what's going to happen. But this is Rebecca with Red True Crime. Subscribe to the channel if you want to hear further episodes. And y'all have a great day. And if you have any questions or if there's anybody you want me to look into that's local, it doesn't have to be local to Greensboro. It could be the state of North Carolina. It could be in California for all I care. But if there's somebody you want me to talk about or research or bring light to, I'll be more than glad to do that. And like I said, just subscribe to the channel, send me comments. I will respond. And you all have a great day and happy Saturday. And oh, one last shout out. My son Michael is 24 years old today. Yay, I didn't screw him up too bad. And so he's 24, and it's a milestone. And so again, Rebecca with Red True Crime. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for your time. Bye.